What's up, everyone? This is Matt Mrozik, and this is my Captain America, or at least the base so far. So you guys are probably sick of seeing this guy because I've been working pretty hardcore on him for the past 2 weeks, but I got him done today, and I just got done taking final photos, which I think some people were watching. So those are processing. I'll get those uploaded. But anyway, I'm going to show you how he goes together and kind of explain some of the processes I went through, because I've gotten a lot of questions on some of my techniques, which this kit has been another huge learning experience for me. I've done a ton of things new that I just kind of, again, when I'm learning things, I just kind of start doing things and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And so I learned a couple tricks, and I don't know if tricks, but they're new to me. But first off is the base, and it's pretty good. It's a little monotoned overall, but that's okay. You know, it's kind of a wreckage scene. There's quite a bit of metallics going on in here, like on this hatch, which I think is from maybe a tank. This plate has several different metallics with some rust effects. There's some barbed wire coming out of the back. The stone that's been dry brushed and everything. And there's like a beam of steel and another piece of like wreckage. So the base was all done in acrylics and watercolors, just dry brushing, going back and forth. Lots of airbrushing, shadows and such. All the metallics were hand painted and then dry brushed. Same thing with the stone, just basically working from shadow, working my way up with dry brushing and different, lots of clear colors on here. I could go through a whole list of clear brown, clear leather, clear tan, clear nicotine yellow, just lots and lots of layers. And then at the very end, I went through and just dry brushed some yellow ochre on some of the highlights to give it some more dimension. So overall, it looks really good. I'm real happy with it. So I'm just going to kind of show you how this builds up and explain things as I go. I got a ton of compliments and questions about the boots right here. Let's see if I can get some light on this guy. So lots of questions on the mud and the leather technique. All the leather was done simply with airbrush and using Garage Kits US colors. The boots look really, really pretty before I got them all dirty, but they even look better now, I think. I did cover up some of my stuff, but so starting with the inside, basically I sprayed black, and then I highlighted with the metallic blue from Mr. Color. For the red type of leather, the base coat was Mars Red from Garage Kits US. And then I went through and I did I added Mars Red and True Red together in 50-50 amounts and highlighted it. And then I went through and darkened the edges with some clear leather. And then the light leather is simply leather tan from Garage Kits US. And I went through and just did the post shading, adding the shadows and stuff with the clear leather. So actually not too hard. It did take a little time, so I was in there real tight with an airbrush, which is something I typically, post shading is new to me. I typically always do pre shading, but the post shading I've gotten pretty decent at, and I really like the effect. It is a different look. The shoelaces were just hand brushed with like an army green, kind of army green acrylic from Vallejo. All the little metal bits are hand painted by using Vallejo metal colors. And then the mud effect is Vallejo's mud effects. I did find a technique on using baking soda, but I was at the hobby store and saw that they had this, so I bought a couple jars. It's a little pricey. I think the little jars are like $5. But I tell you what, it's super easy. I mean, this is all new to me. All this weathering and stuff is like completely new. So it's just me kind of messing around, and once I get what I like, I stop. So this was just simply stippled on. I used two different colors. I used a dark mud, and then I want to top that with a lighter mud. And it does dry kind of wet looking, so I went ahead and hit it with a flat coat after the end, because dry mud is flat. It's not glossy. So that's how I did the mud effect. And when I did the mud, I actually did it with the shoes on the base, or the boots on the base, because I also added some of the mud on the base, so it blends in perfectly. Because once I had done the mud on the boots, it was a slightly different color than the base itself. So I went through and I stippled some of that mud onto the base. So that's how it breaks down. The shoes come off. The legs are a separate piece. The blue on this is base coated, or sorry, was sprayed with gloss black. And then Mr. Color metallic blue. I went in and post shaded with a combination of clear black and clear blue in all the shadows. And then all the wear marks you see is dry brush with watercolors and blues and just different colors to kind of emulate what would happen if it was kind of in this scene. And then I went back and actually had some more shadows a little bit after that. So it looks really nice. Like he's kind of been beating someone up. So there's that. And then the torso. Hold on. I like to show this how this all comes apart, because it does break down pretty nicely. Actually, there's only only a few things that I've glued. The only things I glued were the leather pouches onto the torso. So this will go in like this. So on the torso, the blue up here is the same blue that's on the pants, the GX metallic, Mr. Color metallic blue. The metallic blue on the chest is from Garage Kits US, just their metallic blue, and those are sprayed on top of Stynol Res Black, not the gloss black, just the Stynol Res Black. The stars, all the stars I painted with bone white, which is a slightly warmer white, and then the stripes on the suit and the white on the star on the shield is done with, and then the white on the arms here is done with Garage Kits pure white. So 2 tones of white going on. Stars are warm white, the arms and the torso are pure white. And I had a couple comments as far as like the shading on the white and this area that's being a little drastic. So after I first did the initial shading, I flat coated it. I went in with some lighter pigments and tried to bring it up a little bit. So it has been toned down, but I like it. I like the punchiness of it. It looks really, really good in my opinion. The arms I toned down a little more because they were really contrasty. Same technique on the leather for the pouches. It's Garage Kits US leather color. And then all the shading is done with clear leather to get that effect. Same thing with the straps up here. The lighter leather is leather tan with clear leather on top. The dark leather is, actually the dark leather, all I did is I masked off the lighter leather and just kept adding clear tan on top of it. So the base coat on all the leather on the torso is the same color. The darker tan is just simply achieved by adding more of the clear leather. All the metal bits are hand painted with Vallejo metal colors. Again, steel. That's kind of like the color I used all over the place was the steel color. It hand brushes beautifully. Doesn't leave any brush marks. Masking this leather off was a nightmare. It took me 3 hours to mask all the way around it. And then even after that, my paint had lifted the next day all around the edges. So instead of remasking it, I went through and I touched it up with some watercolors. And after I did the watercolors and shading and blending, you can't even tell that I was messed up, but I was quite upset the next day that had happened. Let's see, the red color, I painted the red stripes and the white stripes on the torso. That's using, actually, I was using the ammo colors. I think this is called Blood Red. Same thing up here, but that was airbrushed. So Blood Red by Ammo of MIG, and then the white is just their white hand brush. I didn't feel like masking all the stripes off, so I hand painted. It was actually pretty easy to do. Same thing on the back here. This is Vallejo metal color steel, just hand brushed on. Lots of dry brushing to make it look worn and weathered. Dry brushed his butt, so it looks like he may have fallen down on his rear end or sat down. Let's see, arms. Same technique on the arms, same red leather on the arm here, same light leather that's on the boots. These straps right here were first painted in black, and I just dry brushed it with several different colors of watercolors, browns and grays. I love watercolors. I've been saying that the gouache watercolors, they're really nice. They're tube watercolors. The best thing about them is that if you screw up, it literally comes off with water. I know acrylics are supposed to, but Jesse's colors are really, really good, and I have a hell of a time getting them off of anything. I can't even get them out of my airbrush. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but they're hard to clean for me. So he does come out with several hands. Here's this fist hand for the right. On the face, I'm really very proud of this. Actually, I don't have any light on him. So the face, I'm super happy. I'll come in closer with the skin tones, and then once everything got dirtied up, I dirtied up his face. In the photos, it's kind of hard to see, but he does have kind of like a lot of soot and ash on his face, which I'm really happy with the results there. The eyes are my first time hand painting eyes all the way. Super happy with that. I keep breaking these little wings off. They're a nightmare, so if you have this, you'll understand. And then the shield I finished up this morning, and I had played with the idea of going through and spraying a few little dry spots and doing some dust effects, but after all the polishing I did, I like it shiny, so it's gonna stay. So this was done with first a layer of gloss black. I let that cure. Then the whole thing was sprayed with all-clad aluminum. And then, let me back up, sorry. First was gloss black, then I sprayed Yeah, then I did aluminum, and then I masked off the star, sprayed white on top of that. Then I left that masked off the blue, sprayed clear blue till I got the color I wanted there. And then I masked off the red and sprayed clear red till I got the color there. And then I gloss coated all of that and got it really, really shiny. I posted a picture, and then I went in and I hand painted all these damage marks with enamels. And then after those were hand painted, I went in with some clear black and kind of airbrushed over those to kind of give it a little scorch mark. And then after I did the airbrushing, I went back again with a brighter enamel and just kind of highlighted some of the areas within those. It looks okay. It's my first attempt at doing this, and I think it looks okay. And then after that, last night was the very last step. I layered on, like, so doing all this hand painting, there's a lot of texture. Like, the paint was very, you could feel it, but I didn't want that. I wanted to bury it. So what I did is I spent about an hour. I just laid on about 10 coats of automotive clear. And what that does is it allows me to wet sand this and get it all smooth. So this morning I spent a good hour polishing it to get it glass smooth. And now this may shrink over time, and I may have to go back and wet sand it again. But so what I did, I didn't use any polishing powder. Using a polishing kit that I have, I started with 3200 grit sandpaper, then I went to 400, 6000, 8000, and finally with 12,000. And the 12,000 gives you the mirror finish. So yeah, real happy with that, and it's a nice contrast to everything else. So there he is, all put together. And then you get the two switch out hands. One is holding Ultron's hand, which I actually prefer over Iron Man. I just like the way he's holding it. And this does come off, it's magnetized, but I'll probably I may just glue these on. I mean, there's no really reason to have those magnetized. I mean, it's easier for painting, but yeah, I just like the way he's holding it. It's kind of got a grip like this, you know, it's like got a death grip on it. Let me come a little closer here. And I'll spin him around, but man, I'm so happy with this guy. I think he is the best model I've built so far out of any mech or figure I've ever done. Overall, everything worked really, really well. My only big snafu was really the lifting paint on the leather, which I was able to fix. It took a while, but I'm happy with the fix. I'm super happy with my skin tones. They're the most realistic I've done so far. And to be honest, I can't remember how I did it. There's a lot of, again, a garage kit's colors going back and forth with all the different colors, going in with pastels afterwards. The lips were done with a very, very watery red kind of mix, and it just kind of brightened them up a little bit. But just, man, I can't say enough about what this looks like. So Mark DeMello, who produced this kit, this is sculpt by Avi. Phenomenal sculpt. I'm not a fanboy. I'm not like into Marvel or comics, but when I saw this, like, man, that's like the best Captain I've ever seen. Reminds me of the first Marvels, the first Captain America that came out a couple of years ago. It's got that same World War II feel to it, and I just love that. Just really, really done well overall by Avi. And then Mark DeMello is just a super great. Mark's awesome. I chat with him all the time, actually, and he's super quick to answer. I mean, I've chatted with him for 30, 45 minutes on end before, and so if you haven't got anything from him before, go ahead and do it if you can. I was able to get this because a collector was selling it, and I was very lucky. So, yeah, really cool. His face is getting a little washed out right now because this light's really bright on him. Let me see if I can get it to tone down a little bit. That's the problem. So everything's so dark and his skin's so bright. So right now his skin looks terrible in this video, and I apologize, but it does look realistic in person. So let me see if I can bring it closer to the camera. Let's see. Yeah, even the color here, he's going a little yellow. But yeah, so it's not a good representation. The photos will show a good representation of what he looks like when I post them. So Ultron was basically just done with aluminum. I post shaded all the shadows and stuff, and then went back in with some pastels. And then Iron Man's head here. The red and the gold are a little, they're not what I guess would be accurate, but I don't like the red that they use, so I went with a darker, deeper red and a more orangey gold. So yeah, I just like that better. So once I painted it, I went and post shaded all the panel lines and stuff, and then just hand brushed all the little scorch marks and stuff, which are nice contrast. And he's super shiny, just like I did the shield automotive clear. And you know, I didn't have to sand and polish him. I got it when I sprayed it. It was like glass. So I didn't have to do anything. But yeah, just super happy with how this looks. I mean, I'm bragging on bragging on myself. I think it looks amazing. I've had no less than 6 people instant message me who want this statue. So he's staying for at least a year, as I want to take him to Wonderfest and my local shows next year. So yeah, I may sell him next year, but for right now he stays. But yeah, I'm loving this scale. This quarter scale stuff is fun, and it's much quicker than a mech. So now I have to go back and work on the bust for the article I'm doing, because I kind of got sidetracked with Thor and this guy's. But there he is. I hope this video is in focus, but hope you guys enjoy it. And if you have any other questions, let me know. I try to explain everything as much as I could. We got a ton of questions on the mud and on the leather, which I thought turned out really nice. And the shield I'm really happy with. Lots of sanding, lots of polishing to get that shiny. But there he is. 1/4 scale Captain America, sculpted by Avi and offered by Mark DeMello. This was number 10 out of 30. I always get the number wrong. I think there were 40 total. There were 10 kits. So this is number 10 of the kits. And then I think there were 10 like stealth modes and like however many of the blue pre-painted, but only 10 kits available. I know I've painted one. I think I've seen 4 or 5 painted, so I know 4 or 5 have been painted and have owners. I'm not sure where the other unpainted live, but there may be 1 or 2 out there if someone's willing to sell one. You might get lucky, but anyway, thanks for looking as usual. It's Matt Mrozik, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.